from Nesson and occasionally this season on WEEI during Red Sox broadcasts. It is Lou Merloni. Hey, Lou.
Hey guys, how we all doing?
Wow. Not as good as you. You're killing it on the broadcast.
Yep.
Unbelievable job.
It's fun. I have fun. I mean, you know what? It's funny. We were talking about the other day. All these close games, like they're fun. You know, they're good games to call. They're exciting.
Yeah.
But they're not coming out on the right end of them. It'd be a lot nicer if you walked out of there with a win, right? But they're still like they're fun games. They're just they're not winning enough right now.
Well, they've won 4 of the last 6 and can win back-to-back series with a win tonight.
Yep.
And are you feeling like the momentum thing is always interesting to me? Are you feeling like, being around the team, any kind of change there?
No, I still think they're sort of searching for that, because momentum, and they say this in baseball all the time, is just only as good as a starting pitcher. And Giolito last night ran with it. I mean, he was fantastic. That was like his 4th one of those. It's just that there's been 4 other ones that haven't been so good, right? So it's really about Walker Buehler. Like, can he come out and do a similar thing to Giolito? Get through the first inning, which has been an issue, throw strikes, attack, be the aggressor, and then, give time for these bats to wake up, which they have been here recently. So it's one of these things in baseball. You want a ball game, you go to bed, and you're like, yeah, hopefully we can get off to a good start here tomorrow.
You were talking about it last night while I was watching, and Giolito got up to 96 on the fastball, and it was over 50% of the pitches that he threw. So it seems like maybe he can kind of turn his focus there, pitch selection-wise, and turn things around for himself as well.
Hopefully, because he's starting to see a lot of people with it. Weisert's been throwing great lately. He's been leaning on his fastball. I feel like Whitlock has been leaning on it. We know what Chapman does. We know what Crochet does, and Giolito last night leaned on it because there's just some things in baseball never going to change. I don't care what era we're in or whatever, but like everything plays off the fastball. And you can't just trick your way through 6 innings. You can't come out and just throw a bunch of off-speed pitches and try to get through 6 innings. It's got to be fastball. It's got to locate. You got to establish it. Because if you do that, and I'm a hitter, and I know you're spotting it and have a good one, then I'm going to chase the slider off the plate, the changeup down. But if you can't locate, if you got a bad fastball, I'm going to be sitting on your soft stuff because I know eventually I'm going to get one over the middle of the plate.
Lou, you bring up Chapman, and I know yesterday you were saying we need more games where you're getting a win with only using 3 pitchers.
Yeah.
Last week we talked to Craig Breslow, and I asked why pull him after 1 inning, 8 pitches when he was throwing pretty well. And he said, well, that's who he is. That's what he's always been. How do you change that mentality? If they're pitching well, why not keep them out there? Why do you have to pull them after 1 inning?
Well, I just think with him, a closer, he's 37 years old. He's been throwing the ball great. It is June 11th. They're not even halfway through. So it's like, in order to keep this guy throwing the baseball in September, in August, and maybe even October, who knows, like they have to use him appropriately, and then sort of he can't get greedy. Like you would love to sit there and say, you know what, screw it. Let's throw him again tomorrow night, 4 days in a row. I don't care. We need this win. And that's great. And then 3 weeks from now you wake up and he's on the IL like Justin Slayton and you're screwed. So it's like he's 37. He's an inning guy. That's it. And you just pick your spots. You get a good inning out of him and you just sort of move on to the next guy. And I think some of these guys can be stretched out, but someone like that's in a routine, that's 37, that's valuable, that throws 102. I just think they'd be careful with him, and I think that's the right thing.
Trevor Story with an absolute Lansdowne Street bomb last night, and you guys pointed out that he's 9 games into this month, hitting well over 300. Is that, you think things have turned around for him a little bit?
Well, hopefully. He's really streaky, right? Obviously, like he had a great 3 weeks and an awful 6 weeks, and now he's had a great 2 weeks. So it's unfortunately for you, and he is really important to this team and has been since day one. Like, he's out in the field right now. He looks to his right. He sees Meyer. He sees Campbell. He's got kids all over the place. There's a catcher behind the plate. There's a one-year guy, rookie out in right field now. And Bregman's not there. So, like, he's the adult that can kind of keep, the experience. And he's a right-handed bat. And you got some lefties in there. He needs to swing it. And when he's not, it looks bad. He strikes out. I get it. He hasn't played in 3 years. And it's you don't want to put everything on him, because I don't know if people love that idea, but he's really important. And when he is swinging it, he just changes the lineup. So hopefully, it's like I don't want him hitting 380 for 2 weeks and then 96 for like 4 or 5, right?
Yeah.
And it's obviously he's not on purpose, but it's have that week where you just hit 250. You know what I mean? Hit 1 home run, driving a couple. Like just level this thing out a little bit, right? The highs and lows are getting a little bit crazy, but I'll ride that high.
On that note, so Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, it seems like Alex Cora was indicating that those guys are going to sit.
Yeah.
When it comes to lefties, and you may end up with 3 lefties this weekend with the Yankees. Explain that to me. Because you bring them up and then you sit them for a weekend with the Yankees.
Yeah, a lot of it is timing. I think Refsnyder, who only faces lefties, I don't know, had played like 3 times in 3 weeks because you just don't see many of them. You just so happen to be playing the Yankees here, who have 3 in their rotation. I don't know. We'll see. I think he might get a start for each of them. Maybe Duran sits 1 game. I don't know. But as long as you have Romy and you got Refsnyder, like that's their job. They're 2 of the best in the game as far as hitting left-handers go. Toro's a guy that has been swinging it. I don't know if you take him out of the lineup. So it's and you're trying to win each and every night. I think maybe at the deadline, depending on where this team is, maybe there's a guy like Refsnyder I think would be very valuable. Hopefully he stays here, but that might open the door to get some more at-bats for some of these guys. But until you're in this thing, or not eliminated, until you're trying to win each and every night, I don't think Marcelo and Roman give you your best chance over Romy Gonzalez or Refsnyder. Not right now. And, some of these, the lefties are different animals. Like, it really is. Like, the AAA pitching, Cora talked about it yesterday. I've been trying to talk about it. Nobody believes me until Cora says it. But it's a different animal. Like, the other day, Clevenger came in 97 with Sink. He's never seen that. Because the lefty down in AAA is awful. If he was any good, he'd be up in the big leagues. Like, it's just the way it is. They rush kids up through the system. So it would be like, drafting some corner in the NFL who's never played college football and say, go cover the best wide receiver. Like, it's just too hard. And they got to work their way into it. He's going to give them some at-bats like they've done with Casas, Abreu, Devers, all these lefties. And eventually, yeah, they're going to be everyday players, and they're going to play against lefties. But right now, as rookies, it's just probably not going to happen too often at all.
Lou, watching Roman Anthony last night, first hit, 2 RBIs, yeah. I immediately texted the show group about you being perfect to talk about this because your first at bat, you hit a 3-run home run, your local guy, you're kind of the baseball wiggy. Aaron Boone precluded you from getting that championship. What is that like? What goes into the first at bat from the moment you find out you're going to the big club to seeing the lineup with your name in it, to the time between then and getting into the batter's box? What is that process like, and what did it mean to you?
I'll tell you what, one of the things, too, I remember always thinking about was, like, when the game had started, how it was scary. Because first off, the emotion of telling your family these sort of things, like your buddies, everybody's calling, texting, and you're like, okay, I got to go play the game. And I remember during the anthem being like, you know what, I've told myself, I've told others, I've told people I can play in the big leagues. Coaches, managers, whatever, teammates, you name it. And then when you finally get up there and you're about to play in the game, you're like, oh, Jesus. Like, now I got to prove it. Like, now I got to actually do it. I've been saying I can, but now I've got to go out there and get a hit. Now I've got to go out there and play at this level. Now it's like you'd either got to do it or just so it was kind of like, oh boy, here we go, and it's fun because I felt it too with the White Sox were in town because they have like 4 kids from Massachusetts. Marcelo, you see his parents, you see the emotion, and it's funny because it did bring me back. Like it was emotional for me seeing the families react because I know I almost put myself there. It was almost like I was watching my own family react, my sisters and my mom and my dad. So it's always fun. It's always fun seeing these families and living out these dreams, and whether it's amateur ball and college or high school and minor leagues, traveling to finally see your kid. It just kind of brought me back, kind of with my family.
Very similar to my first show here at WEI.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
Dale,
Very
Dale
similar
was,
to Greg, what was your first dinner at Davio's like for you?
Emotional.
I don't think at the time.
Were your
I did
parents
anything.
with you?
I had no idea that the warm seafood tower even existed at that time.
right.
I had no idea.
Lou, I need some help though. And,
Okay.
You know, as an all-city catcher.
Please, do not, please.
Back
This
in
is
the day-
We're not bringing the infield in with 2 outs and bases loaded.
No.
Thank you, Lou. That's it.
I need some help here. It
Stop.
has nothing to do with the infield.
Yes, it
Good.
does.
No, there are 2 things I don't understand when I watch the game, and I need
Yeah.
you to help explain to me.
Let me
Yeah.
guess. Small ball.
No. First thing is, what the hell is a sweeper? And then the second thing is the glove that the oven mitten that
Yeah.
the guys wear, I thought was to protect their hands from sliding, but Meyer wears his on his right hand. So please explain to me what a sweeper is and the oven mitt's used for.
So a sweeper's way they used to the guys used to throw like a slider, and if you threw like kind of 3/4, it's what they call now a sweeper. But the sweeper is basically about like horizontal inches of movement. Like when I throw a pitch, if it moves like a 12 inches to its left, if I'm a righty, and across the plate, once it gets to a certain number of like 11, 12, 10, 12, 13, 18 inches, it's called a sweeper. Most sliders are like 6 inches. You know what I mean? Like they move right to left, away from a right-handed hitter. If it goes to 11 or 12, it gets into a category called the sweeper.
Is it new, the sweeper, then, or was that there when you played?
7 is
Dominated the
nuts,
world.
though.
Yeah, it's like a guy like I remember the guy that I used to face, like I don't know, Jeff Nelson with the Yankees. He was like 3/4, and he would throw this thing. Everybody used to call it a slurve because it wasn't like a slider, it wasn't a curveball. It was like this big moving slider type slow thing, and that's kind of what it is. I mean, Tanner Houck has always thrown one. They just recently started calling it, so it is what it is. And the oven mitt, you said he puts it on his right hand. Well, he's a right-handed thrower. And I think a lot of the guys do it. They'll probably, I would, I've never used one because I think they're stupid. They use it for their right hand because if they dive in, maybe they break a finger and that's their throwing hand. Unfortunately, you see guys, and I love seeing this personally, slide and they beat the throw, but they slide past it and the oven mitt doesn't allow them to hold on to the base and they slide by it and they're out. I love when that happens because I think oven mitts are stupid.
But I feel like
don't like them.
99% of the guys that wear the oven mitts, they put them on their left hand.
I don't know. Are they left-handed throwers?
I don't know. I was just asking.
Yeah.
Meyer was the only one I've seen on his right hand.
Last one from me. Have you been able at Nesson to determine how many members of the Anthony family are named Anthony?
Isn't that great? We got Anthony, and Anthony. Like, and it's like, well, they call him Tony. I'm like, of course they do. I mean, But no, I think it's great. It was great seeing them all there. A bunch of paisans. I loved it.
It was
It was really good.
Anthony. That was fantastic. Tony. But you know what? I was funny because I said that too. I wouldn't want my parents sitting right there, like them coming to watch me for the first game. I'm like, go up to the grandstand, I'll wave to you, that type of thing. But you're in my business. The manager's right there. Everyone's congratulating you. Maybe there's some language. Maybe there's some things said. There's my sister. There's my mom. Like I don't know. But it was nice for them to be there. It's great.
Your debut, everybody from Framingham was there, and some people from Natick too.
Yeah. No, it was like Metro West party. Yeah, but they were up in those like seats underneath, right? The ones that that I don't know. You guys probably can't fit into. I could barely fit into.
Wiggy and I were saying off air, his family's giving Tommy cutlets back when Tommy Cutlet's family was in the news all the time.
They kind of are the Anthony family.
Yeah.
Tommy Cutlets. I love it. No, it was great to see them there. But yeah, they were tight. They were close. The little John Henry seat piece.
All right, and a couple games coming up on the radio and Shaw's and Star Market Red Sox Radio Network.
Absolutely. We got I got the rest of this homestand, the Yankees and everything on TV, and then Fleming and I'll be out in Seattle and San Fran. So we'll be back together out there for those series.
All right,
be good.
Lou. Well, I appreciate so much you taking the time, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Good talks.